getting the assignment and up to the payment receipt. So we will discuss each and every aspect of all these audit cycle, and if there is something anyone need to discuss, we can take up all those questions and queries post completion of the presentation. So the primary thing, once we get the project from someone, that is the requirement. First we need to understand the assignment requirements, what client is requiring from us, why he has given that assignment to us. So first of all we need to analyze the scope document, at what gonna be in our scope, what we have to check for the client. Is this a cost overrun? Is this a techno commercial audit? Is this a balance sheet audit? Is this an internal audit? What kind of work we are going to deliver to our client? That's the main first thing we need to analyze. So we need to have that scope, we need to have that engagement letters, we need to have those email communications through which we can ascertain that what kind of work, what kind of analysis we are going to deliver to the client. Once we have got that, after that we need to find the key areas, है ना. If we are doing the cost overrun project, then we need to map the key areas, like we have to have the zero base budget with us, we need to have the your quarterly plans, we need to have your annual plans, we need to have the actual execution against that. So all those areas we need to cover. If we are going to do some reconciliation part only, in that case we need to have the procurement part, we need to have the consumption part. So we need to find the key areas as per the nature of the scope and nature of the work we are going to deliver, and then we need to identify key areas so that we can meet with the client expectations, and our reporting requirements should be in line with that scope requirements only. All right. After that we need to be clarify about the deliverables, what we are going to deliver, what type of you know report client is requiring from us. you know does he need the analysis part only, that just we need to analyze what's gonna wrong? Does he need to check the root cause? Does he need to get the remedial actions? Does he need to matlab, he is appointing us as a recovery agents for them. There are so many things. Sometimes client hire us to raise the access claim to the client. They had is that you just find out the access claim and submit that access claim to the main employer, ultimate employer, and get it approved from them. So we need to clarify the deliverable part also, that what client is expected from us, what how we are going to deliver that thing to the client. And after that we need to assess the complexity of the project. We need to know that what type of planning is required, what type of work is required, what is the level of team will be required. Sometimes we need more technical persons in our team, sometimes we need lesser number of technical persons in our team. So that again depends on the nature of the work. So we need to assess that complexity of the project, the hindrances of the project we need to understand, and after that we can move to the site for execution of our work. So before starting the work, that work scope and checklist development is the main area we need to get focused. So the work scope we are developing for our upcoming audit has to be in line with the again the requirement of the project. We need to write and present each and everything, how we are going to execute that work, what are the line items we are going to execute, how we are executing the same, what would be our method for verification. Then in line with the work scope, we will go to the checklist. We have to customize irrespective of the master checklist we are having for each and every type of project. We need to customize that checklist as per the project requirement, as per the nature of project, and as per the work scope we have allotted. We need to define the audit areas, that in sometimes client doesn't need to go to stores department, sometimes they doesn't require the verification of the quality control, they simply need the subcontractor bill verification. So in that case we need to find the audit areas, how we are going to execute the same. We need to find out the procedures we are going to implement, like how we will check the subcontractor billing, how we will check the client billing. Like in subcontractor billing, how we are going to check, are we going to compare the subcontractors quantities with the client quantities? Are we going to check the subcontractor bills with the technicality of the backup documents like BBS and drawings? Are we going to check the subcontractor bills in terms of compliances only like TDS and GST? So all those things we need to get done in our work scope document and in our checklist. Then our checklist should be customized as per the requirement of the client. And once we get everything done in our that scope document and checklist document, we need to again review and get it validated from the someone senior to whom we are going to report our audit and report, so that if there is any input from their side, that can be included in those checklist or work scope at that time only, to avoid further delay in the work. After we finalize the work scope, after we get the checklist done, then post that we need to delegate the work scope to the teams as per their knowledge, as per their experiences, and as per their qualifications. So right, we all knows how our team is doing. The person who, if there are 3 4 persons in our team, we better know who is good in stores, who is good in PNM, who is good in subcontractors. Again, we need to rotate the teams so that we can train them uh, for overall project, but still we need to get the quality work done also. So we need to delegate the work accordingly, so that the work can be done in a with the accountability and with the quality work. So the delegation of the work should be very precious, and is really an important task for a team leader before proceeding for an audit. Our sampling strategy should be very clear. So in our previous training sessions, we also saw that how we need to find out the samples. And I think if I'm not wrong, then we had the access of the Narendra system, and we saw how he is getting the samples of the work for coverage purpose only. So our sampling should be uh, in a very right manner. Sampling should not be broadly in a category of where we can finalize our sample orders on the basis of the amount only. First we need to categorize the nature of the work. First we need to categorize the subcontractors as per the nature of the work, and after that we can again bifurcate them on the basis of the value basis, or of the nature of the work, like item rate contractors we can get separately covered, labor rate contractors we can get separately covered, and MEP contracts, like all those different kind of work, different kind of subcontractor we can separately manage, and then find out the samples accordingly. Those data requirement is the main thing for any audit, because without sufficient data we can't execute, we can't complete our work with the quality output. So we just can't write in our report that there was no data maintained at site. That would never gonna be our audit report. Our audit report should come with the observations in which we have checked the things and came out with something. Simply non-availability of data is not a audit observation anywhere. So we need to specific with the data which we are seeking to the client, and that data requirement things has to be shared with the client in a very timely manner, so that we can get all those required data in a timely manner, before starting our work, or maybe once we reach that site. So at the same day, or mostly at the at next day of the audit, when we will be at site. So mostly data has to be made available to us for audit purpose in that timeline only. So there are some delays which beyond the control of the site and beyond the control of the audit team, that then in that case escalation of the same has to be there, so that our team management and the audited team management has to be aware that due to the absence of data something has gonna be delayed, so that communication has to be there. So those things we need to get done before proceeding to the audit side, that we have the work scope with us, we have the delegation of the work scope with us, we have the samples and the data requirement mails has been shared with the client. Once the audit plan has been confirmed, like audit plans covered the checklist part, the work scope part, the understanding of the project part. So all those areas are come under our audit plan. So once all those things have been confirmed, then after that what we will initiate, we will initiate the site mobilization for site verification, right? So for that site mobilization thing, a team leader has to coordinate with the number tree admin team or the site project team, and plan their travel accordingly. So sometimes what has happened that you have prepared your travel plan, and or from our office, someone has prepared your travel plan. You reached that site and found that concerned persons are not available there. Even you can't initiate a kickoff meeting at that site. So in that case you might lose your 2 or 3 important days due to that lag. So this is the responsibility of the team leader, that you should connect with the respective site where you are supposed to move for your upcoming audit, and get all those details to reach there at site, get the details of the concerned person and their availability at the site, to avoid any last minute delay, to avoid any uh, last moment hamper of your audit work. So you need to get a travel plan accordingly. You need to have your exit plan accordingly also, that at which date you are going to complete the audit in the general scenario, and according to your completion plan, you can again get the things done in advance if you are sure that your audit is going to complete on a particular date. After that, you need to get follow up with the respective site for your accommodations, and for the confirmation that you are reaching there, for your pickups from the respective airports or railway stations, whatever the case may be. So means the complete follow up from the travel to the project reaching, this is the responsibility of the TL, that has to be done in a simpler way. A TL can get the help of admin department from our team, so that if in any case that TL is unable to connect with the site and unable to follow with the site, in that case under the TL responsibility only, admin from our team can connect with the respective site, but the last the accountability and the ownership comes under the TL roles only. So TL has to be very clear about their travel plan. TL has to be very clear that where they are going to accommodate, and TL has to be very clear that there's the complete team and the persons. If sometimes what has happened that your team members are traveling from other project site, so in that case you need to get confirmation from that respective TL also, if your some of your team member is transferring from some other team leaders team. So in that case, communicate with that respective TL also, that sometime what has happened that that TL has released some person, and that person has came to your site, but after reaching your site he is still doing the work of that previous site only. So in that case, what gonna happen? Your audit will gonna happen, will gonna hamper. Your audit delay will gonna happen. So just confirm from that respective TL also that that person is released completely from there. Uh, there should not be anything which is he is carrying with him, so that he can complete that work post reaching your site. So that all those communications confirmation has to be there. Then once you got all those things done, then you need to get with you the kickoff meeting presentation. You all the TLs are present here. I am assuming that all of you are having kickoff meeting while you are reaching your respective sites. So that kickoff meeting presentation has to be there. If someone has skipping that process, and that should not be acceptable. Kickoff has to be there. In kickoff, you need to get a PPT done with respect to the work scope you are going to cover, with respect to the data requirement, with respect to the credentials of your whole team which is going to be there at site. All those things has to be covered there with the credentials of our company. What is number three? From where we are from, which date we are working, where we are, our presence, where we are present ourselves. So all those things are has to be in their PPT. So those PPT, every TL has to be get ready before reaching to the site. And once we are at site, we need to start our site with that PPT only. Company introduction you has to give on behalf of the number three. You are the face there, which is working on the behalf of the number three. And the introduction of the auditee has to be there, like after you are presenting yourself, after we present ourselves, that who we are, how we are going to execute the work, you need to ask the client also, you need to ask the auditee also, that they can introduce themselves. The HODs of the department has to be there, and they should share their credentials with you so that you can get in touch with them. And you need to ask them for the person for coordination of the work. Point of coordination, POC, has to be there, because for everything you just can't go to every person again and again. So that single point of coordination has to be there. So all those things a TL has to maintain while before reaching at site and after reaching at site. And there are some general things which everybody has to follow, like our professional standards we have to maintain, like we have to be in our formal attire every time while we are at any client site. We must be having our ID cards. If you know ID cards have been released to you, then you must be having your ID cards at client site. And every time we have to uphold our ethical behavior, confidentiality, and our standards, right? Communication protocols, we already know that Ajay sir already mentioned the name of Narendra and Pradeep, that they are getting it done on email. So that's appreciation for them. And I want that every, not tier only, but each and every associates also, each and every team members or a team members should follow these protocols. Like verbal communication, there is nothing like a verbal communication in audit. We can't prove anything via verbal communication, that I have discussed something with that particular person and he has said this, so I just report it and or delete it. That should never be happen in our audit case. So once, as we already discussed earlier also in our audit training session, that once we discuss anything with anyone, that thing has to be documented on the email at that time only. If the discussion was about some query, then you can just mention that as we discussed, this is the query, and with the replies of the that concerned person, and as per your review, these are the things. And if you just need to share some query without discussion, you can just share the query to him, that we have find out something and we need your output on the same. We need your we need you to review the same, so before we write that particular query in our audit report. So irrespective of anything, your queries, your document exchange, your any data exchange, your any final conclusion has to be there on email to avoid last delay जो mess up होता है, that we need to avoid maximum at maximum. All right. Now next to the email etiquettes, that so sometimes I don't know it is happening now or not, that previously what we did, that we prepared some a common ID for a particular project where our each and every team member has to be communicate with the client. So sometimes client got confused that on which email ID we need to share the information, what kind of information we can share that on that particular email ID. So we develop a specific project specific email ID. That email is accessible to all the team members of that particular project to avoid the repetitive data requirement to client. Sometimes what happened that for technical, our engineer is there and our commercial is there. So engineer has to do the material reconciliation, and our commercial team has to check that typical procurement and store audit. So commercial team has someone from commercial team has raised a data requirement to the purchase department regarding inward of the document, or store department regarding inward and outward details. Same email our engineers has raised to the stores department that please share the purchase details and consumption details for reconciliation purpose. So in that case, what is happening that store department is might be getting irritated also, that he has to share the same things again and again. So for avoiding that, we can do two things. Either the TL should be a point of coordination for our team, that all those major information which can be used for multiple purposes, that can be asked from the TL email ID only, and after that TL can share all those information to respective team. Or we can develop a single email ID which is accessible to all the team members of that respective project, so that whatever information will come there, so anyone can have the access, and we can avoid the multiple communication for the same things to the client. So that things we need to follow. And if we are using a common email ID, so in that case we have to keep in mind that while sending any email, we need to check the signature of the email, so that the respective concerned person has updated the same as per their requirement. So those things we need to take care to avoid the unnecessary burden to the client. Now let's come to the observation recording part. So observation recording, we always report the observations in our MOM format or in our report format only. There is nothing apart from this. We should not write any our observation anywhere apart from these two things, to avoid repetitive work. So MOM is a requirement, our daily protocol which we need to operate. So that thing again we'll cover in later part. So to avoid repetitive work, just draft your observation that MOM format, discuss the same with the respective client, and share that MOM with the response of the client to our team and respective client if applicable. Or you can directly write the observation in the report format to avoid last moment recording of the observations in the audit report. So that will also help you to get your audit done at the you know as per your timeline, or maybe before your timeline, or you may avoid delay in the completion of your work. So our daily internal reporting requirement, though already everybody knows, so again I need to uh, get you all a reminder about the same, that at every day we need to share the progress reports to the GTL or the reporting manager, that what you has covered, so that that progress report can be in your WhatsApp groups, can be on your emails. So whatever the mode of communication is going on between you and your GTL or your reporting manager, just follow that mode of communication and update your daily work progress, so that your GTL or your reporting manager has to know that what is the progress of that project, is that project is going to complete in the timeline which you were decided at the time of starting of the project, or if there is any delays, so that some measures can be taken to avoid that delay. Your major key findings like something big, if you have found at any site, big I mean to say a big process lab, or a big materiality observation, a big recovery in terms of amount. So those things you have to share on the daily basis. If there are some challenges due to which you are unable to process your work, due to which you are unable to complete your audit, that has to be shared on the daily basis. So you just don't wait for the last moment, don't wait to for 4 5 days, so that you are just waiting that hopefully it will be resolved at site level only without communicating to our team. So once you have done your best at site to resolve that issue, but you have found that issue is not yet resolved, then escalate the same, before wasting your time, so that the audit can be completed in timeline. And consistency in reporting format has to be there, so it has to be consistent. It should not be like uh, someday you are drafting observation in the reporting format, other day you are drafting that observation in some plain word document, another day you are drafting your observation in just a excel sheet. So no, that is not acceptable. A consistency has to be there, and that consistency has to be there across the company also, है ना? It should not be like that someone has adopted their individual approach, someone has adopted their some he has done some R&D and applied something. So whatever we are going to report, whatever we are going to share has to be on a we all have to be in a same page while we are sharing something to our management, because at that management level that complexity should not be there, that someone has, and even from the same team also, if we are sharing some observations from a single team, that then try to share those observations from one point of contact only, like let it be like only TL will share all the observations to the GTL, and not every team member, to avoid the repetitive observation and to avoid the any complexity in the reporting format. So from TL, all those observations, all those challenges, all those updated progress has to be shared to the GTL. Yes, a TL can deploy their subordinate for that purpose, but ultimately the accountability remains with the TL only. The timeline what we need to broadly cover in our audit cycle is the kickoff meeting. So post kickoff meeting we need to get our field work done, and while doing our field work we need to get our mid review, so that and someone from the office, someone from that person might be your GTL, that person might be your reporting manager, or someone other can have a review of your work and can assess your work done, and may suggest you something if there is any requirement. And post review you can move towards the finalization, considering the review inputs from the reviewer, and after finalization you can move to the closer meeting. So a closer meeting is something after that you can move from the site, or you can plan your next month work also. So all those things you need to consider while planning your audit. Then daily monitoring and communication protocols. So we already know and already discussed that there is a daily MOM format which we need to share with the respective concerned persons, so that we can update everybody. We can update our reporting manager about the status of the site, about the observations which we have reported till date, and about the responses. So everything has to be there in the daily MOM format. And your observation closure process has to be like we already shared, that once you have find something, once you have observed something, so at that moment only you have to just share that observation with the respective or concerned department HOD, and mark the project in charge also in that email, so that if there is something which project in charge can include in that observation, so that inclusion and that their finding or whatever input can be concluded and can be considered in while finalization of that observation of that audit point. Our reporting and the quality, how we can control that, the draft reports, I don't know how many of you are following this thing, like in our previous year training sessions also we discuss about this on a regular basis, that we need to draft our audit report on daily basis only without any second thought. So we'll check it later. We'll book a different training session for that report purpose only, in which we will check that how we are getting our observation reported. So that draft report has to be there on daily basis only. Once you have finalized something, like you have found something, you have shared on email, and on email communications already closed, and now you have something which can be reported in the audit report. So that report has to be developed and right on that time only to avoid the last moment delays again. So what has happened at last, you will you have to write maybe 12 or 15 observations. So while drafting all those 12 15 observations, you might compromise with the quality. I'm not saying you will compromise, but that may be happen. So to avoid and to improve the quality of the report, to improve the report writing for yourself also, you can draft the audit observations on same day only. So that will enhance the accuracy and the quality of the report. So once you have draft some observation, and at the time of closure of the project you can just finalize all those observations, because going forward and during the audit cycle there might be some changes in the observations, and you might those observations might get upper as a higher risk, or might got down as a lower risk observations. So you need to find out the hierarchy of the observations and put them as per the risk factor, and then finally audit report accordingly. The responses which site has given to us, we need to validate those responses. We just can't write what they have said to us. We need to validate the authenticity of the responses has to be checked. So after the validation part only, we can capture those responses in our audit report. And we are having multiple sites where we are doing the concurrent audit, the regular monthly audit. So those sites, those audit report must be released with the action taken report also. So the action taken report is a report like the audit report which you have released in past. So what is the action has been taken on that observations, on those observations, and what is the present status of the same. So that action taken report is, you know there is nobody should tell you specifically that you has to cover those observations, but it is deemed that if we are on a regular concurrent audit, that ATR has to be part of our regular audit report. So that thing we need to focus. And after that, documentation standards, like we already discussed in our last training session only, that how we need to maintain the data. So if we are having some audit software, so we need to capture all our working papers there only, and we have to maintain organized digital file structure, like we have discussed how our folder management has to be there. So like we are having our name, and a flowchart was there which I already shared on email to the attendees. So we need to just follow that flowchart for maintaining the client data with us for any audit site and for all those clients which we are working for. And the version control has to be there, as we already discussed in our training session also, that if some data has amended, if some report has amended, so that version control has to be there. We just can't delete the old data and save the new data. Instead, we should maintain the versions. Like if there is something which we have got updated, so that updated data might come with the version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, and any version, like you can maintain the same, so that the differentiation can be there, and the earlier data and new data, both data has to be there. So that thing we need to take care of. So these are some common responsibilities for the team leaders, which you already know, but I just need to remind you all that team management is the core responsibility of us. Like you need to handle your team in complete manner. Like at starting, I already told you that consider that project as a uh, independent consultancy firm. Don't consider yourself as an employee. Consider yourself as the owner of an independent consulting firm. So now you have to manage everything for that project. You are the owner of that project. So if you are having a team of 4 people, so if they have any leave concern, then you have to take care of the same. You need to decide that if the project allows somebody to get the leave or not. What is the urgency level? Okay, what is the priority level? So all those things need to get done under the TL scope only. Leaves before proceeding to the admin, before proceeding to the leave approval, those leaves first need to get approved by the team leaders only. After that only further leaves can be approved or rejected at any level of the company. We need to resolve the issues among the team members. There, it has happened. We have already seen in our uh, previous audits and different moment of time that there are some clashes among the teams. There are some miscommunications with respect to work only, and there are so many things which we need to take care. So as a team leader, this is a responsibility that you maintain the uh, good team structure with respect to the communication, with respect to their performances, with respect to their grievances, and if there is something which is unresolved, which you think that beyond your control, then please escalate the same to the higher management to avoid any further or big issue among the team members. So just escalate those issues, and after escalation just follow up what has happened to the issue. And so it should not be like that you just escalated that issue to the higher management and just forget everything. You need to get involved that what is the present status, if the issues has been resolved or not, what we can do to get it resolved. So all those things you need to take care. You need to get yourself in a very active control, like Ajay sir said that those HO persons, those CPM or anybody in the that higher management should know you also. है ना? For them, apart from Ajay sir, apart from Govinda who was there in our team, so you guys has to be there. If you are working in a project, if you are working on a respective site, and if somebody is having any concern about that site with respect to any findings, with respect to anything, with respect to any input, so ideally it is better that they should communicate those things directly to you, and you should understand what are their expectations. Like we discussed at the very beginning of this presentation only, that what client is expecting from us. So those expectations you can you can have a better clarity about those expectations when you get a direct communication from client. So just be in picture, just try to come out with some good observations so that you can just share those observations with them, discuss with them, get their point of view, and consider their input in your audit work, and definitely you will come out with some good things. So that coordination should lie with the team leaders only, that if there is any queries you need to get it resolved. So that query might be regarding your observation and other site related issues. That might also be regarding accommodation, that might also be regarding traveling. So first try to get all those things done at your level only before reaching to our office. Then presentation with the clients. So don't let presentation, don't let it be like you have shared a report with the Ajay sir. Now Ajay sir has to take care when it is going to be presented to the client. Who are going to present? I don't care about them. No, that should not be the case. Instead, you should prepare the report, share with the management, to your reporting manager, your GTL. Follow up if the report has been released to the client or not. Follow when we are going to present the report. Ask for them if it is possible at either case. You don't need to ask. Majorly, they consider you for the report presentation only. You has to be there. So if it's still in some case if it is not possible, ask them if you can be a part of the that presentation meeting, and just ask if client has reverted for something on those reports. And at the minimum level you must have the final reports which are released to the client, and you will find there are so many differences in the report what you have shared with the Ajay sir and what Ajay sir has shared the client. So that final, the latest, the top up version of the report must be with you, and just analyze what are the changes there and implement those changes and those learnings in your next audit report. So you have to be in touch for that also. And you need to get the visibility of all the projects which are going among the company. It's not about your project only. So if we are having 11 12 team leaders here, so everybody is working on different kind of projects and different nature of projects. So get in touch with everyone, how they are executing their work, what kind of observations they are getting there. A simple communication has to be there to understand if there is something which you can implement in your project also. So that knowledge exchange has to be there. You need to have the access of all the projects, not just of your project only. So that will enhance your learning, that will enhance your audit mechanism also. So you need to get in touch with each other so that you can incorporate the learnings and findings of other side at your project site also. And again, there are some things which nobody is taking care as of now. I'm not sure if one or two might be taking care of the same. But what is happening now, that once you have complete the audit, you have shared the report has been released. Now you are thinking that your work is done. So now again comes to the initial part of this presentation of today's training session, that consider that project as a firm and not as an employee. So as a firm, once you have delivered your work, once you have delivered your audit report, now what comes after that? Now the payment part will comes now. So that ownership also you need to get in your audit profile, in your work profile. So once you have shared the report, just you the pressure would be on yourself, that report has closed or not yet. है ना? When our audit report, when our audit considered as a close, once we discuss the report at actual level only. है ना? This is a very well known things for every TL, that once we discuss our audit finding at actual, at that point only our audit came to a closure. So you need to get in touch with our management, if required get in touch with the HO personnel, that your report has to be closed at the management level. That final report has to be closed. Then after that you need to coordinate with the invoice, for the invoice to our from our respective accounts team. Ask them, as Ajay sir already mentioned those things, that you need to get in touch with the client accounts person, you need to get in touch with the number two accounts person, that what is the status of the invoice. Once the invoice has been released, then what is the status of the payment. So once the payment has been released, then at that time only you can officially